So, so last time what we discussed, guys? So who are providing the cloud cloud providers? Guys, are you able to hear my voice? Hello?
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So
The,
who are the cloud providers?
the cloud provider provide SaaS, PaaS, and EIS.
So I'm asking about cloud providers.
Yeah, cloud provider. We have AWS, Alibaba, Amazon, Alibaba, Google Cloud Computing.
Yeah. Azure, Google Cloud, OCI, IBM, Alibaba, GCP. These are the cloud providers. So this is cloud services. So what are the cloud services?
ISS, SaaS,
Yes.
PaaS.
So cloud services, SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. So you guys understand, right? What is IaaS, what is PaaS, and what is SaaS?
Yes.
Yeah. So IaaS means infrastructure as a service. IaaS means infrastructure as a service. They provide only infrastructure. This is like a physical data center type. So physical data center also providing the IaaS, infrastructure as a service. The same like as a PaaS, platform as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So these two are adding in the cloud services. Why cloud is popular? So because of, so they are providing PaaS and SaaS along with pay as you go model, and for cost optimization purpose also they are using cloud. They are using cloud. So cloud, something like what is AWS? Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider. Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider. They provide you with servers and services that you can use on demand and scale easily. What is this? So AWS means Amazon Web Services is a cloud provider. Cloud provider. They provide you with servers and services. They provide with you servers and services that you can use on demand and scale easily. AWS has revolutionized IT over time. The powers AWS powers some of the biggest website in the world. What are the websites? Amazon.com, Amazon.ecommerce, and Netflix. These are the biggest website in the world. What are the, so they provide you with servers and services. They provide with you a servers and services. So what are the services and what are the services they are providing? Amazon EC2 services. So Amazon EC2 service means do something like a physical a virtualization server, something like here. This is the EC2 service. EC2 means a server instance. EC2 means a server, something like server. In the physical, it is called as a server. In the virtualization, it is called as a VM. VM means a virtual machine. VM means virtual machine. In AWS, it is calling as instance. Everything is the same. Everything will be a server. Server in the physical, it is calling as a server. In virtualization, it is calling as a VM, virtual machine. Virtual machine. In AWS, it is calling as a instance. It is calling as a name called as a instance. Guys, now you understand? Here, it is calling as a server. Server, a virtual machine, here instance, here instance. Everything will be same. Everything will be same. So something like. So Amazon EC2 is a service. Amazon ECR, Elastic Container Service. So this is also a service. Amazon ECS, Elastic Container Services. Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, Autoscaling, IAM, AWS, KMS, Amazon SES, Amazon RDS, Amazon Aura, Amazon DB. So these are the services. These all are the services. So Amazon providing 74 services. How many services? Till now they are providing 74 services. They're providing 74 services. All services. You see? So this is the AWS, all the services. So all the this is the services, something like for analytic purpose, application integration purpose, AR, VR, AWS cost management, blockchain, business application, compute, containers, customer enablement, database, developer tools, end user computing, front end and web, mobile, gaming development, internet things, machine learning, management and governance, media services, migration transfer, networking content, quantum technologies, robotics, satellite, security, identity compliance, storage, everything. These are the types of the platforms. In this platform, they are providing 74 services. How many services? 74 services they are providing. 74 services. Guys, now you got it right? Guys?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Amazon Elastic Cache, DynamoDB, SQS, SNS, so something like CloudWatch, Cloud Formation, CloudTrail, Amazon Gateway, Elastic Load Balancing, Amazon CloudFront, Amazon Kinesis, Amazon Route 53. So these are the some of the services. Some of the services. So AWS Cloud History. AWS Cloud History. How it aims. How it came. In 2002, internally launched AWS. In 2003, Amazon infrastructure is one of their core strength idea to market. So 2003, Amazon infrastructure, like a physical data centers. Amazon infrastructure is the one of their core strength idea to market. In 2004, launched publicly with SQS. 2004, launched publicly with SQS services in 2006. So 2006, relaunched publicly with SQS, S3 and EC2 services. In 2006, relaunched so publicly with SQS, S3 and EC2. So what are the first services they introduced in 2006? Guys, the first publicly introduced with SQS, S3 and EC2 services. In 2007, launched in Europe. In 2007, launched in Europe. So these are the examples. Dropbox is using AWS, Airbnb is using AWS, NASA is using AWS, Netflix is using AWS. Netflix is using. So AWS cloud number fact. Leaders. So leaders, who are the leaders? Amazon Web Services, Microsoft and Google. So these are the leaders. These are the challengers. So Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud, IBM Cloud, these are the challengers. These are the leaders. These are the leaders. AWS cloud number fact in 2019, AWS had 35.02 billion in annual revenue. How much? 35.02 billion in annual revenue. AWS accounts for 47% of the market in 2019. So Microsoft is second with 22% in pioneer and leader of the AWS cloud market for the ninth consecutive year. Over 10 lakh people active users are there. How many people? 10 lakh people are active people are there. So AWS cloud use cases. AWS enables you to build sophisticated, scalable applications applicable to a diverse set of industries. Use cases include enterprise IT, backup, storage, big data, analytics, website hosting, mobile and social apps, gaming. Everything they will provide. So who are using McDonald's, 21st Century Fox, and Activision and Netflix? So these are the few of the use cases. These people are the using an Amazon. So our AWS global infrastructure. So they are providing a global infrastructure. Global. So AWS regions. So these are the region based. These are the regions. So AWS is in the regions. In the regions, AWS availability zones are there. In the AWS availability zone, AWS data centers are there. AWS data centers are there. AWS data centers and edge locations are point of presence. Edge locations means or points of presence means edge locations means something like so. So I am in India. My servers are in US. My servers are I provisioned, I built the servers in US and I hosted my website in US. So most of the people are using that website only Indians. Most of the people, Indian peoples are using that website. So if you hit something like a website, so it will go to the US servers, then it will retrieve the website, right? So it will not take much time, but definitely it will a latency because of it will come from US. So that's the reason. So in India also something like edge locations are there. In that edge locations, I'm catching something like a catching concept. I'm keeping my website into Indian locations also somewhere else. So it will hit to the catchy location. It will hit to the only Indian servers. So you'll get the Indian website, something like the website. It will not goes to the first time. First time it will goes to the US, then it will fetch to the or catch it to the Indian servers in India location servers. So whenever you hit it automatically get from the India locations. There is nothing but edge locations. So data centers, something like here is there. Yeah. So this is the, so I will show you. So what are those regions? A region is nothing but a specific, something like a Oregon, North California, Canada, something like Oho, North Virginia, Iceland, London, something like Frankfurt, Paris, Maine, Spain. So these are the region based. So availability zones. So availability zones is nothing but a, so something like in region. So in region, so they are creating a availability zone, something like a. I will show you that availability zones. Yeah. So AWS regions. AWS has regions all around the world. AWS has regions all around the world. Something like the regions based on US East 1, US East 2, US East 1, US East 2, US West 1, US West 2, AF South, AP South, something like the regions are MR, MR. You guys know, right? Something like something like a three types of regions in the over the globe. So those are APAC, Asia Pacific, and America, North American, Northern South America, and EMEA. So these are the Europe, Middle East, and Australia. So these are the three regions. These are the three regions. Something like I will show you the three regions. So these are the three regions. Something like, so this is the Asia Pacific. In Asia Pacific, so Hong Kong, Mumbai, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo. These are the APAC regions. So Europe, so EMEA regions. These are the Middle East, Europe, something like a Paris, London, Ireland, Frankfurt. These are the, so something like a EMEA region. So US, something like AMER region. So America, so America. These are the three regions in the south. So the servers are there. The data centers, the regions, the data centers, availability zones. AWS has regions all around the world. The name can be US East 1. US East 1. So in North Virginia region, it calling as a US East 1. In Ohio region, it calling as a US East 2. In North California, it's calling as a US West 1. Something like Oregon, US West 2. So these are the regions. These are the regions. AWS has regions all around the world. Names can be US East 1, U West 1, something like AP East 1, AP South 1, AP Northeast 2, AP Southeast 1, AP Southeast 2, AP Northeast 1. So these are the type of U Central 1, U West 1, U West 2, US 3, U North 1. So ME North 1. These are the regions. Region names call it as a US East 1, US East 2, US West 1, US West 2. So a region is a cluster of data center. Again, a region is a cluster of data centers. Cluster of data centers. Most AWS services are region scoped. Most AWS services are region scoped. So how to choose an AWS region? You can choose your whatever the something like a compliance with the data governance and legal requirements. Data never leaves a region without you explicit permissions. So proximity, customer reduces the latency. So availability services within a region, a new service and new feature are not available in every region. So because of something like every region, if something like a new service is so a new service is introduced. Most probably it will be in US North US East 1 and North Virginia region. So they are introducing first every services. They're saying like that. So pricing varies region to region and is the transparent in the service pricing page. Service pricing page. So AWS. So what I told you. So regions complete. You know now you know the regions. So these regions are three types, right? So APAC, AMER, EMEA. APAC, AMER, EMEA. These are the regions. So regions completed. So the next availability zones. What is availability zone? So availability zone. So each region has many availability zones. What is availability zone? Each region has many availability zones. Usually 3, minimum to max 6. Usually each region has many availability zones. Each region. Something like this is the region. Sydney AP Southeast 2 is the region. Is the region. So in the AP Southeast 2 region, AB Southeast 2 region or something like a something like a so US East 1, US East. So here US East 1. So US East 1 region having something like a usually 3 availability zone, minimum to maximum 6, something like. So US East 1 having 3 availability zones. the naming convention has something like a US East 1A, US East 1B, US East 1C. So these are the three availability zones. The naming of the availability zones call it as A, B, C. A, B, C. Here, AP Southeast 2 is the region. AP Southeast 2 is the region. The availability zones, A is the availability zone, B is the availability zone, and C is the availability zone. The availability zone is AP Southeast 2A, AP Southeast 2B, AP Southeast 2C. So each availability zone, AZ is nothing but a availability zone is one or more discrete data center with redundant power, networking and connectivity. So these are the data centers. Each availability zone is one or more discrete data centers with redundant power and networking and connectivity. So this is the data center. This is the data center. This is the data center. Finally, AWS internally connect with AWS portal. This is the AWS portal. This is the AWS portal, something like portal or console or a website. So website internally it connects to the data centers. Internally it connects to the data centers. Guys, now you got it?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. So AWS, a website or a console internally connect to the data centers. Internally connect to the data center. AWS have their own data centers. AWS having their own data centers. You see, you see, this is the AWS data center. They're having their own data centers. So internally it connect to the AWS portals. These are the data centers. So these are the data centers geographically locations in the. So these are the data centers. These are the data centers internally. The console is internally connect to the AWS. AWS console is internally connect to the data centers. Data center. So data centers are predefined. Data centers are predefined. Something like the server with here server. So something like it already installed the virtualization. That virtualization. So if you in your portal, in our AWS portal, something like for example, in your AWS portal, it is you are trying to launch an instance, something like a launch instance, selecting and launch instance. So these are the already predefined portal, something like so if you click AWS Linux, it's already defined in the somewhere. So it automatically took something like it already created instances type. So it's already created. These are all the predefined. These all are the predefined services. In physical data centers, so everything will be manual. So if you get a server from physical data centers to AWS, so what is the difference? In physical data center, everything will be manual, and we need to keep it and we can use it. So in AWS it already predefined. So AWS Amazon data centers are there. In the data centers they are keeping the servers and they are installing the VMware, and they provide the templates also. If you click a instance, it automatically get the instance. So within the 5 minutes, within the so they're creating a website or a portal for the infrastructure. Something like a banking transaction. Citibank application is used for only banking transaction. Something like a life science insurance portals. So insurance portals also is used for insurance premium payments. Something like a social media website. These are for designed for social media. So AWS is so thinking something like a think think same way. So why we need to create a portal or a website for the infrastructure? So after the innovation, AWS something, the innovation is called as a innovated thought. AWS did that one and created a portal for infrastructure, something like for infrastructure also. That's the reason AWS is popular. That is a AWS is popular. So they are separated from each other so that they are isolated from the disaster. Something like something like an environment is non-production, production and disaster. So where we need to keep the disasters in the availability zone. Something like my non-production is in the 2A availability zone, my non-production is in 2B availability zone, and my DR disaster recovery in 2C availability zone. Now you got it right. They are connected with a high bandwidth, ultra low latency network. Everything will be connected with the connected with the high bandwidth and low latency networking. Low latency networking. Now you guys understand, right?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. AWS points of presence. I already told you, right? Edge locations. Amazon has 216 points of presences. So 205 edge locations and 11 regional caches in 84 cities across 42 countries. So content is delivered to end users with a lower latency. So a blue one is the edge locations. The purple one is multiple edge locations. The orange one is regional edge caches. So these are the regional edge caches. A blue ones are the edge locations. A purple one is the multiple edge locations. Multiple edge locations. Now you got it right, guys. So AWS having a region scope, in the region having a availability zone. In the availability zones, so there is a data centers. In the availability zones, there is a data centers. Data centers. They created a portal for infra. They created a website for infra. That's the reason everything will be automated. Something like in physical data center, first we need to buy it the server, then we can get the code from the data center, so we can finalize the data code and we can keep the servers into the data center. This is all, everything will be a physical, everything will be a physical. So AWS is thinking like a how we can do through a portal. So there is, before that there is no portals. There is no portal. A cloud can be divided into three types: a public cloud, private cloud, and a hybrid cloud. Public cloud, private cloud, and public cloud. I will show you that thing. So what is cloud computing? What is cloud? Yes, 1 second. I'm zooming this one. Unable to see, right? So what is cloud computing? What is AWS? Different domains in AWS, AWS services, AWS pricing options, migrating our application into the AWS infrastructure, architecting use cases. So what is a cloud computing? So before cloud computing, suppose if you want to host a website, you need to follow the below things. Buy a stack of servers, keep a peak traffic in mind, buy more servers. So monitoring and maintenance of your servers. So before cloud computing, a disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages? This setup is expensive. Troubleshooting problems can be tedious and may conflict with our business goals. Since the traffic is varying, our service will be ideal most of the times. how to resolve the situation, use the cloud computing. How it happens now. Put your data on a cloud servers and Viola, no more buying expensive servers. Scalability. So what is the main advantage? A scalability. Scalability. Our server capacity will vary according to traffic. Adding a traffic, for example. So in physical servers, so something like a Amazon or a Flipkart, Amazon services started, something like started. So the people, so used people are something like a 10,000 only. They started, used people are only at 10,000. So initially something like people are not joining, not adding, not using that site, right? Initially. So once it's popular, they can use. At the same way, initially my website, AWS website, using every day 10,000 people only. So this server is the server U limit is the server U limit means user limit. User limit is 10K. User limit is 10K. U limit value is 10K. Something like so initially, so in physical data center, so we can imagine, and so we can keep the servers for at least a 6 months. Something like at least 6 months. My 6 months, at least every month adding a 10,000 user. So for 6 months, I'm thinking that 6 months and prospective and create and install the 6 servers in the data centers. But here there is no scalability. It is not a scale up or scale down. There is no capacity. We need to buy the server and we need to keep the server. So I'm assuming, or I'm thinking, for six months purpose they are using six servers, something like every 1 month they increased 10,000 people the same way. So if you are paying for your entire 6 months, if you are paying the money for entire 6 months because of so the assumption for the 6 months is something like this. So in AWS, no need to bother about the this type. So it automatically scale up. Something like if 10K people are using, if 10K people are something like 20K people are using that Amazon website, it automatically scale up the one server. So again, something like 30,000 people are accessing, something like 20,000 above. If something like 20,001, the 20,001 people is accessing the AWS website, it automatically scale up another server. So something like a 30,001, 40,000, 50,000. So something like the people are increasing, the servers will be increasing. Something like a tournaments are there, something like that time a huge people are coming. So rather than the normal usage, so that time, so it automatically scale up the servers. If decreases, something like this is the 50,000, something like this is a 50,000. So something like the tournament, the people are losing, something like 40,000. It automatically scale down one server. 30,000. It automatically scale down one server. So 20,000. It automatically scale down one server. So if the people are adding, it automatically scale up. If the people are decreasing, it automatically scale down the server. That is the advantage of the AWS. Scale up and scale down.
Yes.
So whatever you are using, so that servers also you can pay the money. If the servers are not using, we cannot pay the money. So here, so if you imagine that for 6 months, and you can pay the for 6 months, because of, so we can imagine. But if the people is automatically increasing, so immediately we cannot keep the servers, right? Because of, so if you provision, or if you build a server, it at least taken something like a 25
क्या
days
करीम भाई
25 days to 1 month. So that's the reason. So the advantage of the AWS is scale up and scale down. Scale up and scale down. So what are you are using? So you can pay only. What are the you are using? You can pay only. You understand, right, guys?
Yes, Ari.
Yeah.
But please, I have a question. I want to know what are the disadvantage of the cloud?
Disadvantages.
Yes.
Yeah. So in this session you will get. Yeah, scalability. Use your server capacity will vary according to the traffic. So your cloud providers will manage your servers, hence no worries about underlying the infrastructure. So what is a cloud computing? It is the use of remote servers on the internet storage, manage and process data rather than the local servers or your personal computers. There are basically three categories in cloud computing. Cloud services are cloud services. What are the cloud services? SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. SaaS is nothing but a software as a service. PaaS is nothing but a platform as a service. IaaS, infra as a infrastructure as a service. So it allows companies to use software without having to purchase them, which reduces the expenditure of the company drastically since they are already installed on the cloud servers. They can be quickly deployed and so therefore saves the time. The platform as a service. It allows developer to build the application, collaborate on projects without having the purchase or maintain the infrastructure. Infrastructure as a service. It allows companies to rent server storage spaces, etc. from the cloud providers. So what are the cloud services? So cloud services is SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. What are the cloud providers? Guys, cloud providers. So these are the cloud
Amazon,
services.
AWS.
Yes. So
Mm.
what? Yeah. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing, often referred to as the cloud in simple terms, means storing or accessing your data and programs over the internet rather than your own hard drive. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing, often referred to as the cloud in simple terms, means storing or accessing your data and programs over the internet. Storing, accessing your data and programs over the internet rather than your own hard drive. So everything nowadays is moved to the cloud, running in the cloud, accessing from the cloud, or maybe stored in the cloud. So everything nowadays is moved to the cloud, running in the cloud, access from the cloud, or maybe stored in the cloud. So why? Yeah. So what is why we are using cloud? A reason, please. So why we are using cloud? A reason, please. This is the so so primarily because of three reasons. Three reasons. So you do not have to maintain or administer any infrastructure for the same. Who is asking? Something like the question why what is the disadvantage? Ellen? Something like who is asking Ellen, right?
Yes, Adrian. Adrian.
Adrian. Hey Adrian.
Yeah.
So what is the disadvantage is something like you if you don't have the internet, you cannot access anything. Something like you cannot access AWS, you cannot access server, you cannot access anything. So without internet, we cannot do anything. With internet, you can do it. So this is the main disadvantage. Main
And,
disadvantage.
and,
In
and
physical,
what about the security? Do you
yeah,
think that with the cloud company are more secure? Because every
yeah,
day you
yeah,
read
yeah,
about
yeah.
hacker.
Yes, a good question. So that's the reason they are providing three types of clouds. So one is a public cloud, other one is a private cloud, the third one is hybrid cloud. So once you get into the those clouds, so you will understand, Aden. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do not have to maintain or administer any infrastructure for the same. So it will never run out capacity since it is virtually infinite. So because as why virtually infinite, it already predefined. So predefined and infinite. You can access cloud-based applications from anywhere. You can access your cloud-based applications from anywhere. You can access your cloud-based applications from anywhere. You just need a device which can connect to the internet, which can connect to the internet. AWS service, cloud service models are cloud services models are SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. Cloud has service models. They are. They are. I already told you, right, guys? I will upload this document. You can read it. The examples: SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So in this service, the cloud providers releases applications or software which are owned by them to its client. The client can access the softwares on any device which can connect to the internet using the tools such as a web browser, an app, etc. So, for example, Salesforce.com provides the CRM, customer relationship manager, on the cloud infrastructure to its client and charges them for it, but the software is owned by the Salesforce company. So platform as a service. So in this service, the cloud providers gives the ability to the customer to deploy customer created application using the programming languages, tools, etc. that are provided by the cloud provider. The customer cannot control the underlying architecture. The customer cannot control the underlying architecture, including operating system, storage, servers, etc. Mainly developers uses this service. Who are accessing the service, who are using the service? Mainly developers. For example, this service would make sense you only if you are developer, since this service provides you a platform for developing applications like Google App Engine. Infrastructure as a service. So in this service, cloud provides the customer with virtual missions and other resources as a service that they abstract to the users from the physical mission, location, data partitioning, etc. So if the user wants to launch, user wants a Linux mission, he gets a Linux mission. If he will not worry about the physical mission or a networking for a system on which the OS is installed. A simple, for example, Amazon Web Services is like as a IaaS. So AWS EC2 is like as a IaaS service. Which service? EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. C2 means
Elastic Compute Cloud.
yes. EC2 means Elastic Compute Cloud. EC2 means E compute Elastic Compute Cloud, something like two C's. One C for compute, one C for cloud. So that's the reason EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud. Yeah. The diagram below summarizes the difference between the diagram below summarizes the difference between summarize the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Here you see so something like this is the physical data center. Physical data center. Everything will be managed. Everything will be. Sorry guys. So this is the physical data center. Physical data center. Everything will be managed by our own. Everything will be managed by our own. Something like a networking, storage, servers, virtualization, OS, middleware, runtime, data, application. So everything. So you see, so infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. In infrastructure as a service, so they only manages a virtualization, servers, storage, and network. So this is only IaaS. This is only IaaS. So in platform as a service, the managing virtualization as well as OS, a middleware, and runtime. So middleware and runtime is nothing but something like I want a Tomcat, a Java. So there's a middleware and runtime software. So they install the servers, so along with OSS and a platform also. This is nothing but a platform as a service. Most of the developers are using platform as a service because of they don't want a platform or infrastructure. So they're only developing the develop application. Once the application is ready, they are taking the platform as a service and they deploy it. Software as a service. Everything will be done by the cloud. Everything will be done by the virtualization, voice installations, platform. Then software also. They will provide. So SaaS is nothing but everything will be done by cloud environment. Something like a data center. Everything done by our own. So everything done by our own. So physical data centers, everything done from our own. In software as a service, everything done through cloud. So IaaS and PaaS. IaaS means only infrastructure, only virtualization. Before virtualization, they will provide the platform as a service. Platform as a service means they're providing a platform also, infra and platform also. Now you got it right, guys. In this diagram, you clear the picture, right? Guys?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. So cloud deployment models. These are the cloud services, cloud services, cloud services, cloud providers, cloud providers, cloud services, cloud providers, cloud services, cloud deployment models. So deployment models, cloud deployment models are public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Guys, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Public cloud. So what is a public cloud? In a public cloud environment, in a public cloud deployment mode, the service which are deployed are often for public use and generally public cloud services are free. So technically, there may be no difference between a public cloud and a private cloud, but the security parameters, Adeline, now you got it right. But the security parameters are very different. Since the public cloud is accessible by anyone, there is no more risk factor involved with this same. Private cloud. A private cloud is operated slowly for a single organization. It can be done by the same organization or a third party organization, but usually the costs are high when you are using your own clouds, since the hardware would be updated periodically. Security also has been to be kept in check since new threats come up every day. Hybrid cloud. A hybrid cloud consists of a functionality of a both private cloud and public cloud. Hybrid cloud means a public cloud and private cloud. How? Let's understand it through an example. Suppose there is a research company. There is a research company. So they would have some published data and also the data which would still in the research phase. So now anything which is still in the research should be kept confidential. Confidential, right? Through your cloud provider may have state of the art security features, but then it is still open to public, therefore prone to cyber attacks. So to the address this risk, you can keep the data still being worked on. So in our company servers whose accessing is controlled by the company and your publish data on the public platform, this type of arrangement would be a hybrid cloud. You got it right? Some of the data is in the security mode, some of the data will be publishing. So in published data, it will be on publicly cloud. So some data without sharing to the public, that data will be in the public cloud. That is nothing but a hybrid cloud. So what are the advantages of the cloud computing? Fast implementation, a scalability, access anywhere, no upfront cost, a maintenance free, and better security. So these are the 5 reasons that the cloud computing advantages. So note, decreasing the resources is called a velocity. Decreasing the resources is called as a velocity. That's the reason elastic compute cloud. Elastic, increasing the servers, decreasing the servers. That is nothing but a velocity. Only increasing is called as a scaling. Only increasing is called as a solely. You guys already know something like AWS. So in 2002, July 2002, S3, March 2006, EC2, August 2006, Google App Engine, April 2008, Azure Beta in 2009. So what is virtual private network? So VPS is our private section of AWS where you can place AWS resources and allow restrict access to them. So what is RDS? So RDS is the AWS provider database service commonly used for things like customer account information and cataloging inventory. So what is S3? So Amazon S3 is a massive storage bucket. S3 is nothing but a bucket. Explain about the AWS global infrastructure. So Amazon EC2 is hosted in multiple locations worldwide. Amazon EC2 is hosted in multiple locations worldwide. These locations are composed of regions and availability zones. Each region is separated geographic area. Each region is completely independent. Each region is separate geographic area. Each region is completely independent. Each region is completely independent. Each region has multiple isolated locations known as availability zones. Each availability zone is isolated. But the availability zones in the regions are connected through low latency links. Low latency links. Now you got it right, guys. What is cloud services? What are the cloud environments? What are the cloud providers? What is cloud computing? What is AWS? AWS services, you know, right? Guys?
Yes.